Ever stared at the pyramids and thought, wow, I'd love to live back then? Well, think again. Forget the golden masks and majestic pharaohs you see in museums. For most people, life in ancient Egypt was anything but glamorous. In fact, most of us wouldn't survive a single day. Let's peel back the layers of sand and time and uncover the gritty, sweaty, and downright terrifying reality of life along the Nile. Imagine waking up before the sun even peeks over the horizon. There's no comfy mattress, just a reed mat on a packed earth floor. Your breakfast, a coarse piece of bread, and maybe an onion if you're lucky. Then, it's off to work. For the vast majority, that meant backbreaking labor under a relentless, scorching sun. You're either hauling massive stone blocks for a pyramid, your muscles screaming in protest, or you're knee-deep in mud, digging irrigation canals for the fields. Forget weekends or holidays. The only break you get is when the Nile floods, and even then, you're likely conscripted for the pharaoh's latest construction project. And it wasn't just the sun trying to kill you. The Nile, the very source of life, was also teeming with death. Every time you went to fetch water, wash your clothes, or cool off, you were playing a deadly game of chance, with crocodiles lurking just beneath the surface. These weren't just animals. They were considered divine and deadly predators. One wrong step, and you're an offering to the river god Sobek. Hippos, too, were surprisingly aggressive and responsible for countless deaths. And if the big animals didn't get you, the smaller ones might. Scorpions hid in your sandals, and venomous snakes slithered through the reeds. A simple infection from a cut could be a death sentence, with medicine being a mix of practical remedies and magical spells that had a 50-50 chance of working. Let's say you managed to survive the workday and the wildlife. Congratulations. Now it's time to pay your taxes. And in ancient Egypt, everything was taxed. Not with money, but with goods and labor. A significant portion of the grain you harvested, it goes to the state granaries. The linen you wove, that belongs to the temple. The fish you caught. The tax collector is already at your door with his hand out. And these collectors weren't friendly accountants. They were backed by scribes who recorded everything, and soldiers who were unafraid to use a heavy hand if you couldn't pay up. The bureaucracy was inescapable, a vast, all-seeing machine that powered the empire on the backs of its people. Life was a constant grind of labor, fear, and obligation, a world away from the golden splendor we imagine. But it wasn't all toil and terror, especially if you were born at the top. For the elite, life was a perfumed dream. Imagine lounging in a spacious villa with lush gardens and a private pool. Your walls are painted with vibrant scenes of hunting and feasting. You sleep on a comfortable wooden bed, draped in the finest, lightest linen. Servants attend to your every need, bringing you trays of roasted duck, honey cakes, and jugs of wine and beer. You'd spend your days overseeing your estate, practicing archery, or playing a board game like Sanut. Evenings were for lavish banquets, where guests were adorned with cones of scented wax on their heads that would slowly melt, perfuming their hair and clothes throughout the night. Musicians would play harps and lutes, and dancers would entertain the party. It was a world of luxury and leisure. Yet, even for the wealthy, a deep-seated fear lurked beneath the surface: the afterlife. Their entire existence was a preparation for the journey after death. They spent fortunes on elaborate tombs, detailed copies of the Book of the Dead to guide their souls, and intricate mummification to preserve their bodies for eternity. They feared the second death, the complete annihilation of their soul if the proper rituals weren't followed. They worried if their heart would weigh more than the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth, during the final judgment. If it did, their soul would be devoured by the monster Ammit, and they would cease to exist. So, beneath all the perfume and linen, there was a constant, pressing anxiety about securing their place in the eternal paradise. This obsession with divinity and the afterlife leads us to one of the most fascinating and controversial figures in all of Egyptian history, the pharaoh Akhenaten. Before him, Egypt worshipped a vast pantheon of gods: Ra, Osiris, Isis, Horus, and hundreds more. But when Akhenaten, originally named Amenhotep IV, took the throne, he turned everything upside down. He declared that there was only one true god, the Aten, represented as the physical disk of the sun. He changed his name to Akhenaten, meaning effective for the Aten, and began a religious revolution. This wasn't just a spiritual shift. It was a direct assault on the entire power structure of Egypt. The powerful priests of Amun-Ra, who had amassed immense wealth and influence for centuries, were suddenly cast aside. Akhenaten closed their temples, seized their assets, and erased the names of the old gods from monuments. He moved the entire capital city from Thebes to a brand new purpose-built city in the desert called Akhetaten, known today as Amarna. Here, he and his famous queen, Nefertiti, presided over a new world order dedicated solely to the sun god. The art of this period became radically different, to more naturalistic and intimate, showing the royal family in candid moments. A stark contrast to the stiff, formal art of previous dynasties. But this revolution was not to last. For the common people, who had prayed to gods like Osiris for a peaceful afterlife and Isis for protection, this new religion was alien and confusing. The military and the old priesthood plotted in the shadows, waiting for their chance. After Akhenaten's death, his revolution crumbled almost immediately. His city was abandoned to the sands, his monuments were torn down, and his name was systematically erased from history, labeled simply as the heretic or the enemy. His son, a young boy you might have heard of, named Tutankhamun, was put on the throne, and the old gods were restored. Akhenaten's bold defiance of tradition cost him his legacy, and for thousands of years, it was as if he never existed. A ghost pharaoh who dared to challenge the gods and paid the ultimate price. His story is a powerful reminder that even a pharaoh could not bend the will of Egypt to his own. The sands of Egypt are still giving up their secrets. Just when we think we know the story of the ancient world, archaeologists make a discovery that rewrites the history books. And one of the most exciting places for these discoveries right now is Saqqara. This vast burial ground served the ancient capital of Memphis for thousands of years, and it's much more than just the famous step pyramid of Giza. Recently, archaeological teams have been uncovering a treasure trove of lost tombs and artifacts that are changing our understanding of ancient Egyptian life and death. In the last few years alone, they've unearthed hundreds of pristinely preserved painted coffins, some with their mummies still inside, that had lain undisturbed for over 2,500 years. These weren't pharaohs, but high-ranking priests, officials, and nobles of their time. The details on their sarcophagi are stunning, telling us about their lives, their families, and their religious beliefs. They've also found entire workshops dedicated to mummification, complete with the tools and materials used in the process, giving us an unprecedented look into the business of death. It was a complex industry, with different packages available, depending on how much you could afford. But perhaps the most significant finds are the tombs themselves. They discovered the tomb of a royal treasurer named Bodi Bastet, and even a previously unknown pyramid belonging to a queen named Neith. These discoveries fill in crucial gaps in our knowledge of the later periods of ancient Egypt, periods often overshadowed by the grand pyramids of the Old Kingdom. Each new hieroglyph deciphered, each new chamber opened, adds another piece to the puzzle. It shows us that Saqqara is not just a cemetery but a sprawling city of the dead, with its own economy, social structure, and secrets still waiting to be unearthed. The work at Saqqara proves that the age of discovery in Egypt is far from over. The desert still has so many stories to tell. From the sun-scorched laborer to the paranoid noble, the heretic king to the modern archaeologist. The story of ancient Egypt is a rich, complex, and deeply human one. It's a civilization that was built on an incredible scale, fueled by dust, devotion, and a divine bureaucracy that touched every aspect of life and death. It continues to capture our imagination, not just for its golden treasures, but for the enduring mysteries that still lie buried beneath the sand. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of ancient Egypt, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let us know in the comments what ancient civilization you'd like us to explore next. See you in the next video.
Stranded in the open, dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for
कमरे में घुसता जैसे हाथी टेबल बैठा तो फिर गांधी करते मोटा 400 का होते दंगे चलती लाठी हमने हार से सीखा और सीखों से जीत बना दी सोना था हराम तभी तो किस्मत हो रही चांदी चांदी है मैं एक दिन रहता दिल्ली दूजे दिन मैं बैठा बाली पंगा चीते से तो समझो रास्ता बिल्ली काटे काली है कैन सी थ्रू ऑल ऑफ देम ये रैपर सबके सब हैं